This is today's news on front page dawn. PTI lashes out Sharifs over Shamim's affidavit by Syed Irfan Taza and Amjad Mahmood, 27 December 2021, Islamabad, Lahore. The Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf PTI leaders on Sunday lashed out at the Sharif family for being involved in preparing former Gilgit-Baltistan Chief Judge Rana Shamim's affidavit against ex-Chief Justice of Pakistan Mia Saqib Nisar and thwarting justice by buying influence or physically attacking the Supreme Court. On the other hand, the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz PMLN, while reacting to the statements of the PTI leaders, claimed that reports about the return of self-exiled party Supremo Nawaz Sharif from London were giving sleepless nights to the government. In their statements, the PTI leaders called the Sharif family Sicilian mafia, saying that media had revealed that Rana Shamim's affidavit was notarized in the office of Nawaz Sharif. In a tweet, Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry said, the latest developments have once again exposed the Sharif family to be in the Sicilian mafia and how, like a mafia, they possess the power to blackmail the courts and institutions. In the affidavit, which came into the limelight last month, Rana Shamim accused the former Supreme Court Chief Justice of colluding with the Islamabad High Court IHC judge in denying bail to the PML and leadership before the 2018 general elections. A media report quoted Charles D. Gotthire, the London-based solicitor, who had notarized Shamim's affidavit as saying that the document was notarized at an office in Stanhope Place in Marble Arch, London, that belonged to the Flagship Developments Limited, of which Nawaz Sharif's son, Hassan Nawaz, was a director, and where the senior PMLN leaders often held their meetings. In the evidence, Guthrie has confirmed 3 times that Shamim was present at Marble Arch, the story claims, adding that the notary implied that Rana Shamim was a close friend of Nawaz. The solicitor also indicated that Nawaz Sharif was present when Rana Shamim signed the affidavit and took oath. Citing the evidence, the report said, when asked if they were quite cozy when they were in Sharif's office, Guthrie replied, yeah. The ruling PTI leaders who have been claiming that Rana Shamim was operating on the orders of the PML and leadership termed media reports as a validation of their stance. Human Rights Minister Shiri Masari said the Sharifs just cannot move beyond trying to thwart justice through buying influence or physically attacking the Supreme Court. From assault on Supreme Court to calls to Justice Qayyum to this latest affidavit saga adds a repeated story of corruption on all fronts, she added. In the affidavit highlighted in the media last month, Rana Shamim allegedly stated that Saqib Nassar, during his visit to Gilgit-Baltistan, had made a call to an IHC judge and asked him to ensure that former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and his daughter Mariam were not released on bail before July 25, 2018 general elections. Saqib Nisa, meanwhile, rejected the allegations, terming them allegations absolutely untrue. On December 7, Rana Shamim had confirmed the contents of the document in the IHC, but said he had neither circulated nor shared the affidavit with anyone. The affidavit was finally submitted to court more than a month after it first came to light. PMLN's reaction, the fear of Nawaz Sharif's return, is giving sleepless nights to the government, as the bell of the government has rung even before the arrival of the former Prime Minister. PMLN Punjab President Rana Sanawalla said in response to Interior Minister Sheikh Rashid Ahmad's press conference in Karachi. Earlier in the day, the Interior Minister had said that he was ready to issue travel documents to Mr. Sharif within 24 hours if he decided to return. The minister also offered to pay for PML and Supremo's air travel. Nawaz Sharif, who was serving a 7-year jail term in a corruption case, left the country over 2 years ago, November 2019, to avail treatment in London on a special 4-week court permission. The other day, PMLN leader and former National Assembly Speaker Ayaz Sadiq said he was going to London to bring Mr. Sharif back. Rana Sanawalla said those who brought in a tsunami of incompetence, ineptness, and corruption were now crying at the news of Nawaz Sharif's return. He said Sheikh Rashid's statement in fact exposed fear in the government ranks as people were anxiously waiting for Mr. Sharif to come back. When ex-Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif comes home, Niazi and the hired spokespersons will find a place to hide themselves, Mr. Sanawalla said, adding that bewildered Imran Niazi had abolished PTP's constitution and the party was now extinct in legal terms. Referring to Sheikh Rashid Ahmad's air ticket offer, the PMLN Punjab president said those whose tickets had been issued by people should take care of themselves instead of making offers to others. Minister blames mafia for government's failure to fulfill promises by Imran Ayub, 27 December 2021. Karachi, admitting Prime Minister Imran Khan's failure to bring the corrupt and elite holders and money launderers to justice despite all the promises he made before the 2018 general elections. Interior Minister Sheikh Rashid Ahmad has blamed the deep-rooted and strong mafia for the current situation, but said the government led by Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is going nowhere. During a brief press conference here on Sunday, the federal minister shared sketchy details of issues ranging from probable impact on local bodies, elections in different provinces, to emerging national political scenario amid talk of possible return into the country of former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. One came as a direct, blunt, and strong-worded comment from him was his act of expressing concerns about the government's performance in a few crucial areas, and his admission of helplessness against the powerful mafia on behalf of the Prime Minister. The people voted for us and Imran Khan to catch sugar thieves, floor thieves, corrupt elite, those who have built palaces in London through ill-gotten money, he said in response to a question about the government's performance that was put to him after he had condemned the opposition parties. The people wanted us to catch and to bring them to the court of law for true and quick justice in line with the defined law, but I agree with you, we have failed in this. In response to a similar question put by another reporter, Mr. Ahmed came up with a kind of justification for the current state of affairs by giving an impression that the institutions were rather helpless before the much stronger and deep-rooted mafias. Imran Khan badly wanted to catch those who stole sugar, he said. He badly wanted to bring those to court who had eaten up the subsidy. He wanted them in the clutches of law. But you know, the law has its own formalities, and the mafias here are so deep-rooted and powerful that it couldn't happen. However, despite publicly admitting to the failures of the government, the minister was of the opinion that Mr. Khan had nothing to lose despite reports of Mr. Sharif's possible return to the country. If Nawaz Sharif wants to return, I offer him a ticket from my own pocket, he said. He is healthy and fine because he was never ill. How much drama you, Mr. Sharif, created to leave the country, and if you want to return now, you are more than welcome. While sitting in London, you had no other job but to attack Pakistan's judiciary and armed forces, so you better come back. It doesn't make any difference. Imran Khan is standing firm and not going anywhere. Criticizing a recent statement of leader of the opposition in the National Assembly, Shahbaz Sharif, Mr. Ahmed alleged that the former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and the former President Asif Ali Zardari are the most corrupt leaders of the country. He terms the recent success of Jamiat Ulama-e-Islam, JUIF, in the local bodies elections in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa a fallout of fresh Taliban takeover of Afghanistan, which had helped the right-wing party to grab the highest number of seats for mayors and the chairman in 39 tehsils of the province. PTI has in the recent KP elections, I admit, he said, but this is a democracy. It doesn't reflect anything. But JUIF has not won due to its growing popularity, but it's government in Afghanistan. The people on both sides of the border love their religion, Islam. So these results, in fact, should be seen this way. The Interior Minister was quick to rule out any possibility of talks with the London-based founder of the Muttahida Qawmi Movement, MQM, Altaf Hussain, calling him the cause of much bloodshed and violence in the country. This is a difficult question, he said in response to a reporter's question. But let me tell you frankly that any dialogue with Altaf Hussain is not possible. The reason is that he had been a key cause of violence and bloodshed in the country. Other leaders of the MQM are like my brothers. I respect them all. Ministers claim rejected. Meanwhile, PMLN spokesman Mohammad Zubair said that the Prime Minister Imran Khan and his ministers were worried about their political future owing to bad governance over the past 3 years. He accused the Interior Minister of often creating situations that had led to the insult of institutions. Talking to a private news channel, he said, "We only want the truth to come out before the people of Pakistan. The PTI government knows it very well that the people don't want them anymore. Nawaz Sharif has always faced the courts and he would do the same again. He has always come clean from the courts and he doesn't believe in deals." He said the statement of Sheikh Rashid was in fact a reflection of the realization in the government about people's will. Rejecting the claims made by Mr. Ahmad about institutions that they made long-term policies that could last up to 20 years, the former Sindh governor said the institutions never made such policies. He called it a desperate attempt from the government quarters amid its fast decreasing credibility. Taliban barred women from long trips without male escort. 27 December 2021. Kabul, Afghanistan's Taliban authorities said on Sunday that women seeking to travel long distances should not be offered road transport unless they are accompanied by a close male relative. The guidance issued by the Ministry for the Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice called on vehicle owners to refuse rides to women not wearing headscarves. The move follows the Taliban barring many women in public sector roles from returning to work in the wake of the August 15th seizure of power, and as girls remain largely cut off from state secondary schooling. Women traveling for more than 45 miles, 72 kilometers, should not be offered a ride if they are not accompanied by a close family member, Ministry spokesman Sadiq Akif Mohajir said on Sunday, specifying that the escort must be a close male relative. The new guidance circulated on social media networks also asked people to stop playing music in their vehicles. Weeks ago, the ministry asked Afghanistan's television channels to stop showing dramas and soap operas featuring government escorts, actors. It also called on women TV journalists to wear headscarves while presenting news reports. Mohajir said on Sunday that the hijab, a headscarf, would likewise be required for women seeking transport. The Taliban's interpretation of the hijab, which can range from a hair covering into a face veil or full body covering, is unclear, and most Afghan women already wear headscarves. Human Rights Watch criticized the guidance. This new order essentially moves further in the direction of making women prisoners. Heather Barr, the Groom's Associate Director of Women's Rights, said, "It shuts off opportunities for them to be able to move about freely, to travel to another city, to do business, or to be able to flee if they are facing violence in the home," Barr added. Early this month, the Taliban issued a decree in the name of the supreme leader instructing the government to enforce women's rights, but it did not mention girls' access to education. On Sunday, Afghanistan's Minister for Higher Education, Abdul Baqi Haqqani, said the authorities were discussing the issue. The Islamic Emirate is not against women's education, but it is against co-education, Haqqani told reporters. We are working on building an Islamic environment where women could study. It might take some time, he said, without specifying when girls might return to school and university classes across the country. Women's rights were severely curtailed during the Taliban's previous stint in power in the 1990s. They were forced to wear the face covering burqa garment, only allowed to leave home with a male chaperone, and banned from work and education, AFP. First ever security policy being unveiled today by our staff report, 27 December 2021. Islamabad, the government is announcing the first ever national security policy of the country on Monday today at a meeting in which civil and military leadership will discuss internal and external security issues. According to Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry, Prime Minister Imran Khan has called a meeting of the high-powered National Security Council, which will be attended, among others, by senior military officials, including Chief of the Army Staff, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, and Inter-Services Intelligence Director General Lieutenant General Nadeem Anjum. It will be the first ever national security policy to be approved at the meeting, and later it will be made public, the minister said. When asked about salient features of the policy, he said the policy would cover all internal and external security aspects, including the situation in Afghanistan and its impact on Pakistan, India, etc. Flight of dollar continues despite FIA action. 27 December 2021 by Zafrul Ashfaq. Karachi. While the Federal Investigation Agency FIA is taking all out measures against illegal currency business, pressure on the used to ease out as the dollar reached a record high of rupees 181.3 in the open market on Friday. FIA Director General Sanaullah Abbasi told Dawn that during December alone, the agency had arrested 158 people and seized local and foreign currencies worth rupees 300 million across the country in an effort to stabilize the rupee against the greenback. He said the crackdown on those involved in illegal currency business was launched against the backdrop of the fear that the dollar was being hoarded and smuggled out of the country. He said the FIA acted upon information shared by intelligence agencies, the State Bank of Pakistan, and its own field formations. Asked as to why the dollar was rising against the rupee both in interbank and open market, he said the agency only dealt with the black market. There are other national and international variables and macro and microeconomics which deal with appreciation and depreciation of any currency, and these are being taken care of by the government, particularly in the SBP and the Finance Ministry, he replied cautiously. Dr. Abbasi divides the FIA's campaign into two phases. According to him, the first phase from age 25 to November 30, from August 25 to November 30, began soon after the change of regime in Afghanistan. FIA registered 92 FIRs, conducted 40 inquiries, arrested 107 persons, sealed 21 shops, and recovered rupees 365 million, including foreign currency worth rupees 156 million. In the second phase, from December 1 till date, the FIA registered 117 FIRs, conducted 32 inquiries, arrested 158 persons, sealed 9 shops, and seized rupees 300 million, including foreign currency worth rupees 88 million. The FIA chief said the total amount of money seized during this year stood at rupees 1.3 billion. Over 10,000 transactions scrutinized. Dr. Abbasi said the federal minister had asked the FIA to look into operations of foreign exchange companies. FIA conducted inspection of their sale purchase record and examined 5 A category and 29 B category forex companies. More than 10,000 transactions of sale and purchase by these companies were scrutinized. After detecting some irregularities. 7 FIRs were registered and 11 inquiries conducted against B category forex firms, he said. During the current year, the FIA scrutinized suspicious transactions in bulk after receiving information about them through the Suspicious Transaction Report STRs. After conducting inquiries in these multi-layered complex financial transactions, 156 FIRs were registered since January 1 to date, he said, adding that 29 STRs were referred to the Federal Board of Revenue, National Accountability Bureau, and the Anti-Narcotics Force for further proceedings. He said the FIA's action was still going on as contributing to rupee stabilization as the agency's top priority. Government seems unconcerned. Zafar Paracha, chairman of the Exchange Companies Association of Pakistan, linked to seriousness on part of the government with stabilization of rupee. He told Ron that all indicators of the economy suggested that dollar was overvalued as its exchange rate should be between rupees 160 and rupees 165. Overall, the SBP has taken good measures, but their effectiveness has not reflected in the dollar rate. We have not seen a similar seriousness from the government, and it seems as if the government and the SBP are not on the same page, Mr. Paracha added. He said the market believed that the government was not taking any interest in controlling the rupee fall because devaluation might be one of the conditions of the International Monetary Fund. Of course, advisor to the Prime Minister on Finance, Shaukat Sareen, has said the dollar is overvalued, but we haven't seen a similar statement from any other side. About the FIA's action, he said exchange companies do not determine the interbank rate. Rate in open market appreciates because of a rise in interbank rate. We are licensed entities doing business in strict compliance with the conditions set by the central bank, and it is unfortunate that our members and clients are being called by the FIA. And in the end, the formal request, if you have not yet, please subscribe our channel and press the like and bell button to get the fresh from us. Thank you for watching. Have a nice time. Goodbye.